I think before, like game one, both teams were so sort of like similar, but they slightly did different things. I think they sort of took both of those team comps and did them a little more extreme. Underworld's comp is way more team fighty than it was before, and Kids of Min's team is way more assassin style scrappy than it was before. To where I don't think that it's possible for there to be the type of back and forth that we saw in game one because both teams went to like a different extreme, so to speak. So I think it is just going to come down to what happens in this first 10 minutes and sort of who sort of gets this lead.
Well, an interesting build that's catching my eye already as the dual lane just kind of trades some damage back and forth is the start for Jaeger over on the Sobek, though it's a lot of damage onto the Ganesh, but I think I'm gonna be okay over there. Just a little bit more.
Oh,
Wolfie finds the last auto and gets the kill onto Sculler to kick things off for Underworld. They just won a 60-minute game. It seems like they're ready to just get the next win already.
and that's the mentality you want if you're Underworld. You
What?
didn't play 60 minutes to play 3 games. that's exactly that's exactly how you should be coming in to game number two. And what a beautiful start from Underworld, just getting all your damage off, all your poke off, and getting just as much damage as you need to be able to secure that kill. It looks like it's a big scrap in the solo side already.
This is such an early rotation from the mid laner, and Foolhardy is actually the one to fall. They were all over Jaeger, and it was a great counter rotation out of Underworld, and that's gotta feel bad if you're KWM.
It sure does. KWM are on the back foot already. We said, going into picks and bans that this game's going to come down to whose mental is still in it. Really, obviously, I think the picks matter, the way you play matters, but really the mental game is going to be the big decider of the game. And it looks like Underworld are doing exactly just that. They don't want to play another 60-minute game. They want to win and they want it soon. So get in there. Do exactly that.
Yeah.
They got it. They got to kill on the Ganesh already. They got to kill on this Wukong already. Just sort of play with the lead. The Wukong. One thing to note: they didn't go Bluestone pendant. They went Axe. So it looks like they're sort of trying to play for the level 20 Sunring Axe play with Wukong, which, in my opinion, makes it even easier for Underworld to sort of run you over and gank you early.
Look at this rotation over in the dual lane. Good dash to avoid it, but it's the beads out on the Uller. Safely underneath the tower, though, but it is just pure aggression coming out from Underworld. Now this purple buff is up, and they are here with numbers to try and steal it away, but so is Kittens with Mittens to try and secure their own buff. It doesn't look like they were able to do so. Matrix actually picks up the purple buff that they steal away, and Underworld are just not taking their foot off the gas.
No, and they shouldn't. It looks like Robin's gonna get this mid farm here on past it, but yeah, it looks like they got their lead. They're not overextending, but they're doing everything they can to, increase their lead. They got the purple buff. They're getting now their own farmers up, so they're getting their own farm. Sobek's able to drop his own blue without any assistance, so he's going to maintain that sort of like half level lead that he has over the Wukong. This is all good for Underworld and all bad for Kittens and Mittens because the longer if you get so far behind in the early game, the only way you can win is if the game goes long. And admittedly, I don't think any of them want the game to go as long as it did last time. So, it's sort of like they're playing from a deficit. Big landfall in the dual lane. Looks like more action.
Oh. Sculler falls again on the Ganesh, and that's a lot of damage onto Likisto as well on the Uller. This dual lane is going the way of Underworld handedly right now, and they grab themselves yet another kill. So it looks like there was a rotation over towards solo lane. The Giannis ult was used at the same time, trying to find whatever they can. I don't know what Jaeger said to them in between the games, but they are really prioritized. I mean, Penguins rotated over at level 2. Try and find that kill over there. What did Jaeger say?
He said, guys, I soloed him earlier in the game. You guys remember when I did that? And then they were like, no, what point in the game was that? And he was like, oh, it was like the first 10 minutes. And no one remembered. But yeah, I mean, I think after the shock, had such like a dominant first couple minutes. It's weird that they didn't play through them in the early stages like this because now the rest of Kittens and Mittens for the rest of the game have to deal with the Sobek that's ahead. And let me tell you, no one has ever figured out how to deal with the Sobek that's ahead. Like at any level of play in Smite, it's just so hard to deal with. You know, he's just so tanky, he does so much damage, and he's got this conduit online, and soon enough he's gonna back for a full item. I assume he's going for a Chronos pendant first, but I'm interested to see what he does. I like to go into it, but yeah, it's gonna be so tough to deal with. The bigger this lead gets.
Aggression now maybe coming from KWM over here on the left side of the map. They're trying to turn around some damage. The on assault comes through, but not going to hit the mark. But that's a good Bastet ult to pull back in Dean, who's taken a lot. The landfall will pull one back up, but Penguins is here, and Penguins with a good rotation after the ultimate will find KWM's first kill 6 minutes into this game.
Kittens are not tapped out of the game. I know that the gold lead has gotten so out of hand for 6 minutes that it's crazy.
Yeah.
The kill lead was 3-0. They are not out of it. Their heads are still in the game. They're still trying to get these kills. They're still showing presence on the map, which is what you want to see if you're a Kittens with Mittens fan, and not what you want to see if you're a fan of Underworld.
Underworld definitely still the ones kind of setting the pace, I would say, but it's another rotation here over towards the left lane. Bastet and Jungle Jimmy is back. I'm going to try to find a kill on this Hachiman, but mounted archery just so safe, able to get back underneath that tower. But I like the rotation in, again, the immediate regank from Jungle Jimmy to try and, you know, just make sure that this Hachiman doesn't get too far ahead.
Yeah, if Hachiman dashes in like that again and mounted archery is not up, and they sort of double back for the gank, he's just dead there every time. Like you have to heads up play for him to immediately mount an archery because that is the only play that he has that keeps him alive there. But also, Kittens and Mittens have to keep that pressure to not allow him to invade buffs and keep his farm like up and try to get ahead.
Well, you were right. It was a Chronos pendant picked up by Jaeger on this Sobek. Are we going to see... Oh, actually, Foolhardy could be in a lot of trouble, but manages to just barely get away from there. I'm not actually sure what happened with that pluck. It looked like it landed to me, but Jaeger's still able to just bird. Hardy could be in a lot. Well, you were right. It was a Chronos pendant picked up by Jaeger on this Sobek. Are we going to see... Oh, actually, Foolhardy could be in a lot of trouble, but manages to just barely get away from there. I'm not actually sure what happened with that pluck. It looked like it landed to me, but Jaeger's still able to just bird form right on out of there.
So you're immune to roots in the bird form. I wonder if Sobek pluck, because it's not a stun before he throws you. Maybe it's a root, and that would be why the Robin, because Robin also hit the shadow root as well. So that actually was a sick bird form. And it is a stun. So I don't know why the bird form got out of the stun. He must have hit like a main thing.
Oh, it was a minion that was just sneaking in between them there. Did not manage to see that one. But good, that was lucky and good for Foolhardy to be able to make it out of there. In the mid lane, though, the luck might not be there for the Agni. Just juking and jiving, managing to dodge out so many abilities, but the cat is too much, and Pancake will fall. But Matrix is here to try and get the return kill and has the damage to do so. Penguins falls as well. Now Jungle Jimmy actually could be in a little bit of trouble. Overhead kick does a bit of damage, but can't quite find it. Good hook coming out of Dean, and that might just seal the deal. It does. Matrix gets yet another kill on the Robin. 3-0 now, just 8 minutes into this game. Gotta be feeling himself.
And you see, Pancake go down, and you're like, oh no, Underworld are throwing their lead away. And then you see Matrix come back with a sick double kill and sort of says, nope, we're not throwing this lead away. We are getting another rotation over the solo lane, and Foolhardy goes down 2 times in the early game. Tell me if you've seen that before.
Sure. Yeah. And in such a different way now. I mean, Sobek and Chalk, very different gods, but this kind of full damage start for Jaeger and then some good rotations. We don't see more damage out of Jaeger, right? This is just get your clear, or is the Sobek build a lot different than I think it is?
I would personally say you want to go like full defense after this. Like I think Conduit and Chronos Pendant is just enough damage in your Sobek build. We have seen stuff like Charon solo go full damage or Jorm solo go full damage and do well in sort of like ranked and stuff like that. So maybe he likes to go full damage. No, it looks like he's going building under prophetic, so he's going to be incredibly tanky, and we won't have to worry. Okay, so it is it's going to be tank Sobek, but yeah, I think that's the right play. Prophetic probably into just like a ton more defense, and then he's just so hard to deal with, killing him wise and the amount of damage he's going to be doing. Definitely a smart build from Jaeger here.
Foolhardy just being annoying, interrupting the back of Dean. I don't know about you, Divine. I almost called you Dean because that's in the game. Actually, Dharmic Pillar's coming out, and here comes Matrix again trying to find more. But that's a good snipe coming from the Giannis to maybe help get the Bastet out. She uses that blink and will be able to make it away safely. So no blood spilt there. But I love talking about builds, and we're not going to have a chance to because Gold Fury now started up, and there seems like Likisto might be aware of it and might try to get in here to steal it, but they are aware of him, and they are charging forward at this Uller, who uses the beads, but takes so much damage. The silence to try and peel will be enough, but Underworld grab the first Gold Fury of the game here 11 minutes in, and are looking for more with this purple buff invade that is successful as well. They're just starting to run away with this.
And run away they should. I think they're just playing this so well. They start up the objective. There was a couple times last game where they started up the objective, and then one person walks in, and when one person walks in, you either have to all out secure them because the odds are that four people out secure one person, or you have to all stop hitting the objective and kill the person that's trying to secure it and sort of guarantee that you get it. If you split that call, that's when objectives get stolen. So you see all of Underworld, they all agree, yep, Likisto's got to die. They all go on him, he dies, they get the objective. I think that's just the right call, and it's that cohesion that it's going to keep them ahead in this game and keep that 5K gold lead and just sort of run away with it, which is what they're trying to do.
Oh, Jaeger finding another kill. Looks like a solo kill over there in the solo lane. The Sobek doesn't even have the prophetic and is just running the show over there in that short lane. The beacon has spawned and it's all Underworld's territory. Nothing Penguins can do except back and let Underworld get the first beacon of the game to extend that gold lead even further, right around 6K or so now in the lead. And look at this. They're still getting aggressive over to the left lane. Likisto needs to be careful. I don't know if he quite realizes how much trouble he's in. The stun is good. The pull is good. And the damage is good. And it took a couple more autos, and that Giannis snipe coming through might have spelt trouble. They're actually going to blink in onto Wolfie, who has the mounted archery, but Sobek, or excuse me, Sun Wukong is very fast as well, going to use his ult, and Foolhardy with a rotation over to the long lane will pick up yet another kill here for Kittens with Mittens, who are trying to keep themselves in this game, but Foolhardy might just end up paying for it with his life. Dharmic Pillars is good, but the landfall is better, and Foolhardy now trapped in that purple buff pit, and assuredly will end up falling eventually. The damage is there and will get the job done.
And Sobek has a 4-level lead on this Sun Wukong.
Oh my god.
I mean, shout out. That was a good rotation to get the kill on the Hachiman. You gotta show Underworld that they can bleed at this point, and you're so far behind that any kill means a lot, but you overextend so much for it, and you're gonna die every time, even on one of the safest gods in the game like Sun Wukong. And this lead from Jaker is just going to get bigger. And at this point, if you're Kittens with Mittens, you're telling Foolhardy to stay in the solo lane and keep Sobek there as long as you possibly can, because you do not want to deal with this guy.
Yeah, not at all. Biggest, just gonna be so hard to deal with him at no matter where he decides to go on the map right now. There's some interesting things coming out of Underworld that are working for him here. He can't even try to say that it's not. I mean, it's no Devos coming out of Wolfie on the Hachiman. Still going to be that. The item name is Claw something.
Crimson Claws.
Yeah, Crimson Claw. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, is that a Hachiman special, or do you think Wolfie's just cooking with the build right now?
I think he's cooking. Here's the thing with Crimson Claws. I get asked this all the time whenever people build Crimson Claws. Like, We don't see it. It's not good. Blah blah blah. The thing is, a fully stacked Devos is better than Crimson Claws, but Crimson Claws is a like 10 times better spike than Devos. Once you get Crimson Claws online, you just spike harder than when you buy Devos. So if you're trying to run the other team over, you should just be buying Crimson Claws and winning. The thing is, if that doesn't happen, then you should have bought Devos. So a lot of times you'll see ADCs elect to just pick the safer pick and go Devos. And there's a big case to be made that you should always do that. However, Crimson Claws is in no world a bad item. It's incredible stats. The passive's kind of useless, but incredible, well statted item that is just good. And I'd like to see more. But this is the time you build it when you're just running people down. And Bastet is might get out on a sliver of HP here.
Great Dharmic Pillars for the peel, and now it's actually Matrix who's in a lot of trouble. Matrix with a sliver of HP as well, just needs to dodge a couple more autos, but it's not going to be enough, and Likisto will get their first kill on the Uller. There's a lot of members of Underworld nearby now, over rotating towards this Gold Fury. They will not have their jungler, but they're going to pull it either way. They do not seem to care about what KWM is doing. Jaeger on the zone, going to be hard to get through him, but they are going to try. Now the Fury leashed for the moment, and instead it's Sculler who is absolutely deleted. Penguins goes in to try and get some damage out, and does drop Dean fairly low, but it's not enough to get the kill. Foolhardy on the run in that bird form. And Underworld, they get the kill on the support, and they back up right towards the Gold Fury, but they don't have the ability to pull it quite yet, it seems. So KWM did enough.
If Underworld pulls that there, then KWN steals it, and then it starts getting to a point where the game,
Purgatory.
yeah, yeah, getting to purgatory like it did last game. So I think it's smart for Underworld just to back off. We got a bunch of fights. We're still ahead. Sobek still keeps his lead. There's no shutdown there, so you just pull it when everyone comes back.
Definitely the safe play. This Agni build is interesting to me that Pancakes is going no Book of Toth, no Tablet of Destinies that we see so often on mages. It's a Soul Gem instead. But this Fury is more important than any sort of interesting build ideas that I want to talk about. In Underworld, they're getting aggressive, and it's Sculler once again absolutely just demolished by all 5 members of Underworld. And that is immediately allowing them to go back towards this Gold Fury. And I don't know if anybody from KWM is going to be able to get in to try and steal it away. They are semi-local, but it seems like, yeah, they're just going to give this one up, though. The Fury taking a long time. All they have is the Hachiman damage. Maybe there is a chance for KWM to get in here. Now starting to burn a little bit faster, but Likisto is going to go for the steal. They leash it to find the kill. He jumps away, has to use the bees to try and get away from a lot of this damage, has to use the Aegis as well. Good axe stun will buy some time, but the Fury's been picked back up by Underworld, and they are starting it once again, but they still have not been able to get it. Jump in from Jungle Jimmy, but it's not enough. Underworld get the Primal Fury. Underworld get the kill onto the Bastet as well, and are able to just safely retreat. And it took them a little while longer than I expected, but they did get what they were looking for.
That's a slight miscommunication from Underworld. One of my biggest pet peeves in ranked is when the jungler doesn't help with the objective, because you need the jungler's damage to do the objective. You saw Matrix kind of hang out on left lane, waiting to see if Uller would step up to the Gold Fury, which is smart because he ended up doing that, and then he, sort of overextends, and Jungle Jimmy has to die for it. But I think if Matrix was just helping with the Gold Fury, Dean doesn't take so much damage to it, and then they could have gotten that, and then immediately went over to the beacon and sort of kept the sort of positioning going. But instead, Dean gets a little low. They end up winning the fight still. But I would have liked to see Matrix on the Gold Fury, getting his damage off with them. But all that done is Wukong actually might be in trouble here because of the level lead.
Yeah, it doesn't have the Somersault Cloud, but the bird form comes back up Dharmic Pillars just to make sure that Foolhardy can make it out of there safely. But that's, that was 2 ultimates, one to try and steal away a blue buff and one to make sure the Sun Wukong got out. That had to just be used there, and Pyromancer's up. Underworld on top of these objectives and burning the Pyromancer down with ease as Jaeger's on the zone. And they should be able to pick this one up without too much issue. The Giannis snipe just a little bit late, but it looked like it was on target. Might have to start worrying about penguins with these through space and times.
I think he hasn't built enough power to where you have to be worried about the through space and times just yet. Maybe when he gets that Mirrodin online, it'll be a little more deadly. But as of right now, Underworld's just got to keep doing what they're doing. And we talked about how much you like builds and how much you like stacking items. I, I think Underworld make a really smart play by just saying we're not building stacking items this game. We're not scaling. We're just trying to win as early as possible. Get right into your spikes. Go that Divine Ruin first. Go that Crimson Claws first. Go the Jotuns first. On the Robin. We're not going to stack this game. We are simply just trying to win and spike and get our lead and run away with it. And that is what they've done for the entirety of this 20-minute game so far. You do have to get worried as it gets towards the later stages of the game that Kittens can scale harder. But at this point, it's been all Underworld.
That's a good point, and I had not thought of it that way, but it's given them right around the 6K gold lead at the 20 minutes, which is not something you can just laugh at if you're KWM. You're going to feel that in these team fights. Only objective left on the map right now is the Fire Giant. Are we? Are you comfortable enough if you're
No,
Underworld to start that dance?
no,
No, not at all.
absolutely not. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them start a fire giant dance until three people are dead. Please,
Okay.
like, just you have such a good lead. I think you can bait fire at this point. I think it would take Jaeger like years to die to a fire giant at this point with how far ahead he is and how tanky he is in his build path. That you could bait it out. But I don't want to see like a traditional fire dance if you're Underworld that just look for kills. And that's exactly what they're doing right now in this duel lane.
They are on the chase to try and find something, but the members of KWM are very fast and are making it out, except for Scholar, who's just kind of getting ignored until this moment. Maybe I cursed him a little bit because now the damage is here. Now they're looking at the elephant, and there's not much Scholar can do. The Bastet ult will pull one back in, and Matrix will get the first pick of this fight, but that's a lot of damage onto Dean, who might be in a lot of trouble, and Likisto will answer back with a kill of their own. But now the beads, a little bit too late for Likisto, but Foolhardy is here and does good damage onto Jaeger to secure that kill. And now the chase is on in the other direction. Kittens with Mittens want to take this. They're getting aggressive. Double Agni stun, though, is going to make things hard. Likisto takes so much damage from that. Needs to be careful now. But Foolhardy does not. Trying to catch up to that Agni. Won't be able to do so. But the Giannis, these stuns are incredible from
Yeah.
Pancake. Just absolutely chomping, or excuse me, biting at their ankles, whatever the term is that I'm going for. Beads on Wolfie there will get pulled. The chase not going to end up to anything. Those Agni stuns were just hot, though.
So well played. The Underworld did overextend a lot. I think they took a little long to kill Ganesh. They were trying to sort of trap him in a box. And the way they did that was like two people pathed around the jungle while Ganesh was running down the lane and three people behind him. But they should just kill him and leave there, to be honest. I think they took a little long. And Kittens and Mittens actually end up getting a Oni Fury off of it. And that's going to delay the game enough to where they can actually, sort of start to make a play to get back in this. Because even after the fight, I still think Underworld has such a dominant lead. Even after a fight where they, technically lost it.
Break their ankles. That's what I was looking for. That was the
Yeah.
expression. I got there eventually. It took the whole time of you talking for me to think of it. But yeah, I agree. I feel like that is good for Kittens with Mittens to kind of pull themselves back into it. Underworld gonna grab the beacon, though, to make sure that they're not letting this one slip out of their grasp. The gold lead, though, has come down to around 4,000. Still in favor of Underworld, but we were at 6, almost 7K at one point.
Yeah.
Kittens with Mittens, they're pulling themselves back into this set slowly but surely.
Yeah, I mean, the 4,000 is the smallest the gold lead has been since like 8 minutes into the game. Underworld is up so much. So, I mean, this is looking as good as it possibly could have with the way the game started for Kittens with Mittens. So, definitely doing well to sort of keep their heads in the game. I do think it took a little too long. At this point, Underworld is just still such a dominant lead. I think they're going to be looking towards the Pyromancer here. And if they get Pyro and they get a bunch of pressure, they can look to sort of pressure this Fire Giant and still run away with it. So not over for either team. I think it's going to come down to sort of how overconfident Underworld are going to play this next couple of minutes.
Pyromancer getting looked at here by Underworld, and they will be able to secure that one for themselves. KWM Might looks like they might want to take a fight here, but they're thinking better of it as Underworld retreat into their jungle. All 10 members around this FG. This must look very familiar if you watched game one, but what a landfall pulls
Oh my
back in
goodness.
two. And it's Sculler who could be in trouble again, but has the Dharmic pillars to try and turn around the damage. And Jaeger is feeling it. Jaeger goes into the ult to try and get themselves out of here. Matrix, though, has to use the ult as well. And it's another double stun out of Pancakes on this Agni to just make sure that Underworld can get out safely. KWM, though, showing they can take some of these fights.
I didn't think I'd see Jaeger with a yellow health bar for the rest of the game with the way it started for him, but it looks like he had to get out of there. He was getting really low, and it looks like Dean might not get out of here.
Dean Solo has the jump over the wall, but is it too thick
Beautiful
for him to
stun.
make it out? No, he can get out of there. Great job, and Matrix will get the kill onto jungle. Jimmy mounted archery used aggressively, and Likisto in a world of trouble, but so is Wilfie. Will be able to live for the moment, and Matrix gets yet another kill on this Robin. He's 7-1-2 right now in the jungle. That's crazy.
And insane how bad that could have went for Underworld. We saw a lot of low health bars, and Mittens were looking to get the kills there, but they overextend when they're so far behind. You have to be able to cut your losses and go. I mean, Mittens have they were so behind, they could have stopped and not chased that fight, and it would have been a win for them because any trades when you're behind are just, in favor of you because of the way shutdown bonuses work in Smite nowadays. So they should have just sort of, backed off, grabbed the farm that, Underworld is allowing them to have by losing the fight and sort of got back into it. But instead they chased to go down, and now this fire is practically free for Underworld.
No ultimate for the Giannis, and the fire is very low, and Underworld are able to secure that one for themselves, but it's a low health bar for one in the backline. They're trying to make it out. Foolhardy, though, in a lot of trouble here in the foreground. This Wukong is a safe pick, but what do you do against four members with Fire Giant and the lead that Underworld have? They pick up the first FG of the game. They get themselves a kill, and now it's all about what can they do with the biggest objective on the map.
I thought I cast or cursed him for a second. I said nothing can go wrong. I saw him go in the somersault cloud. I was like, oh no, Foolhardy can steal this away, just like Jaeger did so many times to them in game one. And luckily he didn't. If you're an Underworld fan and they get the fire giant and they look like they're gonna do exactly what they need to, which is peel down these towers, get every tier 2 on the map, get yourself the Primal Fury to make the next fire easier, and sort of steamroll your way into a 2-0 victory this set.
Primal Fury getting looked at. They will leash it again in order to chase out Likisto, but they'll grab it eventually there. Wolfie has enough damage. I don't know why I'm struggling with his name right now, but they're going to continue the siege down the left-hand lane. This tier 2 tower should fall without any sort of issue. If they find a pick, they could look to go towards a Phoenix, and they're positioning like they're at least going to try. They have a wave with them. They step underneath Jaeger, the first one in the door to try and open up this base. The Dharmic Pillars comes out, though, and there's a good amount of damage going back towards Underworld. Jaeger in trouble, trapped in those pillars, but able to dash away. The bird takes some damage, but doesn't end up falling, and Underworld can't quite find that Phoenix.
I think that's an example of being a bit overconfident, especially here. Hold that thought, because Rafa might actually die over in this left jungle over here. It looks like Kittens and Mins went on him, but they're going to be peeled off. So it looks like everyone's just sort of going to back off. No one's going to die, but it's just a bit overconfidence on Underworld. That even hanging around here too long is a bit dangerous. That thought is the skirmish is back in full effect here.
Likisto had a great beads there, dodged out not only the Agni stun, but the landfall as well, and does manage to just barely make it out of there safely. And as you mentioned, Underworld, they're just not backing down. They're just hanging out in the jungle here. There's still a tower over there on the right they could be getting. There's no Fury on this side, I guess. Just back up to Beacon at this point.
Beacon's good. Getting the Phoenix, the tower in right is good. If you take a step back, instead of going for that left Phoenix, if they were to get the right tower and then back off and get to this beacon, the Phoenix, all three Phoenixes would have, be bleeding a bit. which is what the right play was there. But now they have to sort of like back off. They have to sort of, get their health back and then go for this right Phoenix when instead they kind of just danced around this, left side Phoenix for no reason for a long time. So I think with a mistake like that, it's not going to be game breaking because they are still in this left jungle, and Kittens and Mittens can still lose any fight that they decide to take, especially if Wukong goes in here.
Woolhardy has to use the somersault cloud, to stay safe. And again, it looks like Underworld are wanting to push in towards this Phoenix, or at least Jaeger is almost on their own. There, the Bastet ult will pull back in the Sobek, trying to find enough damage. Jaeger's low, but Pancakes get the first kill. Jungle Jimmy will eventually get the kill onto this tanky Sobek. And again, the Phoenix half health, but still standing, and now a man down is Underworld, and it looks like finally they're going to decide it's not going to be worth it to try and take this and will back up. They need to be careful with these lazy backs, though. That was a little too close to comfort for my liking. But it looks like they will make it out, except for Wolfie, who is still around. There's 2 members here, but I'm sure he's fine. You're Hachiman. You're relatively safe. Still has the mounted archery. And Foolhardy might actually be the one in trouble. No, there's too many members here. Now I get it. They were chasing it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the mindset for Underworld really trying to get that Phoenix there?
The mindset is overconfidence. There's no understating it or sort of sugarcoating it. There's no world where you get that left Phoenix unless you're so much better than Kenzo Mittens, which they showed in game 1 that they're about an evenly matched team. So they know they're not like incredibly better. Even with this lead, I think going for the left Phoenix is just overconfident, especially with this right tier 2 up. They could have had a ton of wards out on Fire Giant side and really set themselves up for this next fire. But instead, they sort of danced around this left Phoenix for the entire time and accomplished relatively nothing. The lead stays the same. They don't get a ton of gold off that to extend the lead, which they could have. So sort of nothing happened there. And now I don't think Kittens Mittens is in a position to win the game by any means. They're still down by a ton of gold. But Underworld's didn't put themselves in a better position to win. So I think the mindset is just overconfident.
Dean actually taking a fair amount of poke there, around half HP lost. But Fire Giant has respawned, and we've ticked over to that 30-minute mark again. So it's enhanced Fire Giant. So Kittens with Mittens not going to want to give this one up for free. The Raven Ward flies through the screen. But Underworld playing it patient. They're not pulling FG yet. Is this going to turn into like just poke? Do Underworld need to find a pick first, or do you think they can just kind of pull this?
I think Underworld need to find a pick or like get a couple of people to back at low HP and then start it. Sort of like pseudo TKO at that point, or maybe catch someone split pushing. I don't think they take a 5v5 on Enhanced Fire just because it can do so much damage, and Kittens and Mittens have such a good avenue to sort of get out if they do start that. But I was gonna say hold that thought because Uller was alone there. I don't think Underworld recognized that, but if they did, and somebody can kind of just chase there, then Underworld can find something. But I think this can work out for them, but it is sort of a 50-50 because everyone's alive here.
Seems like it might have been a bait. They're trying to take the fight now, but everybody from KWM able to back up, and Foolhardy getting aggressive onto Jaeger. Good pluck will pull the elephant back in, but not enough damage to quite find anything yet. Here comes the Dharmic Pillars, though, to try and add more. And Jaeger actually has gone very deep and is very low, but has the help from Matrix to try and stay alive. Pops the Thorns, but it's not enough. And Jungle Jimmy will find the pick onto the Sobek yet again. Now a 5v4, make that a 4v4 as Wolfie will get the kill onto Sculler. And it's just retreat now for KWM, not wanting to get picked again. Likisto is low, and the chase is on a little bit. Good landfall at the max range, and Wolfie comes in with the mounted archery to seal the deal. 2 for 1 now could lead to this EFG.
But we see that Wukong sort of teleported back in. I don't know what he's going to be able to accomplish all on his own, but the rest of Kittens and Mittens are going to have to step up and help him, or this is going to be a really bad fight, and they do.
Yeah, they do. Jungle Jimmy gets the pick onto Pancake. Foolhardy has the Somersault Cloud to be able to make it up into safety for the time being. Actually going to get aggressive onto the Hachiman. Lots of damage. Foolhardy is just being so disruptive now. I thought for sure Underworld would be able to back up to that Fire Giant, but Foolhardy and Jungle Jimmy made sure that was not an option.
And if Full already had like a Sundering Axe there, I think you could see a couple kills actually go in his
Mhm.
favor. But yeah, I mean, great job at Kittens Mittens to delay the game. The lead goes from about 11K to about 9K, which obviously still dire
Something.
for Kittens and Mittens, but better than it should have been. And I think Underworld, I just don't think they should have pulled the fire. I also think after they did pull the fire, they just made a couple mistakes that sort of set the fight in the Kittens' favor. But Kittens and Mittens showing that they're not out of it and they're still, trying to win the game, which is something like it says a lot about their mental state at this point.
They're not leashing this Oni Fury. The Yasuo a little early, but the Bastet Leap will secure it. And KWM grabbed that Fury for themselves, but Penguins might be in a lot of trouble. The timeline proc is enough to save his life for the moment, but the landfall will slow down any further escape, except for it's a Giannis, who can just go through the walls. I don't know about back in there, though. But look how fast Penguins is. Just absolutely running away. The Tiger Stun not going to land onto Jaeger. And Penguins is somehow still alive here. It seems like it's just delaying the inevitable. If Jaeger can just catch up with him, especially with Matrix here, that will seal the deal and Penguins will fall. But I mean, owning Fury for your mid laner when you're this far down, do you take that trade?
No, I
Oh,
don't think I don't think
even
you
more
do.
now.
Especially if Licketso's gonna go down to a 1v1 to an Agni. I mean, that's the thing about Uller. It's like any other hunter there, autoing an Agni 3 or 4 times with crit should just kill him. But it's like Uller, I think one of the weaker ability based hunters right now, just not able to output enough damage to 1v1 an Agni, even when you're right on top of him. And that's gonna cost Kittens and Mittens, this EFG potentially.
Yeah, there are. It looks like we do see that Sculler is nearby and might try to steal it away. Has the Dharmic Pillars. Jungle Jimmy is in the vicinity as well, but it's going to be a lot to ask for them to be able to take this one away. Matrix has spotted out Sculler and is going to try and dissuade him from stepping into the pit. The pillars do come out, and there's no way to leash it. Underworld, though, will pick up that Fire Giant for themselves, enhanced, and now Sculler in a lot of trouble. Sculler will end up falling to Wolfie, and Underworld kind of re-secure any sort of mistakes they might have had. They re-secure
Mhm.
that lead.
Agreed. And this tier 2 on the right side finally going down. Uh, EFG on all five. I remember sort of grouped in this area. We see two in the mid lane, three over in side. They're gonna go for the siege. I like a 3-2 split. I don't like this, grouping. I don't think the two tanks should be by themselves in mid and the three carries in right. I think that spells disaster. But if they group up and they play diligently, one person down, they can actually get this middle Phoenix. And it looks like they're going right in.
They are once again Jaeger on the charge, stepping under that Phoenix without any fear. But the rest of the team is not really following, and Jaeger took so much damage. The Phoenix does get hit by the bomb, but they haven't gotten it yet. It almost looked like Jaeger was on a different page than everybody else.
He definitely was. You have enhanced fire giant, which means the backdoor protections on the Phoenix are gone. It only takes a couple Hachi Man autos to get it from half health to no health, and I think they sort of misplayed a little bit. I assume they were scared of maybe like a Janus snipe coming out of nowhere and half healthing a couple people, so they didn't want to group. But I think if Jaeger's your guy and that's who you want to play through, and he's shown that you can play through him, with how well he's played. If he's going in, you're going in. That's just how you have to play. I think Underworld is getting a little uh, I think a little scared of commitment after something like game one where they
Mhm.
you know they overcommit a bunch. I think it's okay to be a little scared, but I think in that moment they had a good opening to get that middle Phoenix.
Their Fire Giant's still going to last for a while longer, and there goes the Giannis snipe through, so that's a tool that will not be available, at least for a little while, out of the mid laner. And it looks like they're going to push down this left lane now. Do you want to see them split, or do you want to see just a full commitment to the left bird?
I like a split. I like sending the jungler. My favorite And what I think is the best in Smite is 4-1. You send the jungler in mid lane, and then you want the jungler to essentially 1v1 the other jungler. But I don't particularly like the 5-man engage because you're just leaving yourself so prone to getting hit by 5 abilities at once. But all that thought is Jungle Jimmy instantly dies there.
Where did he go? Speaking of 5 abilities all at once, Jungle Jimmy just deleted. And that is going to open up a potential easier time sieging here. Jaeger's going to back, but has the TP to come back in. And here they go. Pancakes get yet another kill on the Agni. The left bird falls, and here comes the Sobek at full health. They're going to walk towards this mid lane. They're going to delete the health bar of Foolhardy. They might not even need to worry about sweeping the rest of the Phoenixes. They're not. They're going to go right into the throne room. It is 2 versus 5 to try and save the game, to try and save the set. The Titans' health bar getting lower and lower. Jaeger will get a kill to seal the deal. And Underworld took 60 minutes the first game, 40 minutes the second game, but they take the set.